then what we do is we half the rate, okay, and the time is doubled if the interest is compounded half yearly or semi annually. Similarly, if the interest is compounded, mute all your mics, please. Mute your mics. Um, Others will not be able to hear if you don't mute. Okay. Only when you speak, you unmute. Now, if the interest is compounded quarterly, if the interest is compounded quarterly, then the rate is divided by 4 because we are dividing the year into 4 parts, and the time is multiplied by 4. That is what compound interest formula is about. Also, in fact, this is the formula for amount. Okay, this is the formula for the amount after n years. Therefore, if you have to calculate the compound interest, you simply have to subtract principal from the amount after n years. Okay, that is your the two formula that we require. We have done this earlier also. Okay, but this time a little bit more variation of problems that is required. Okay, look at the first example. We don't need to see the question for this. The question here is that find the compound interest and amount when rupees 8,000 is invested at R% per annum. See, I have written yearly. Per annum means yearly, and if it is invested for 4 years. So this is a very simple application of compound interest. So what we do is instead of P, this is our formula for compound interest. Instead of P, we substitute 8,000. For R, we substitute 10, and for N, we substitute 4. Because they are yearly, we don't need to do anything with the year and the time. Okay, and we have calculated this after substitution. I have taken the LCM, and in this step, this 11 by 10 to the power of 4, that is why 11 by 10 has been repeated 4 times. And therefore, after cancellation of factors and multiplication, I get the amount 11,712.8. Okay, now one thing to remember in calculations is that when you are getting, if all the zeros in the denominator are cancelling, just like here, if all the zeros in the denominator are cancelling, then you cancel all the zeros. But if certain zeros remain, that is, say some power of 10 remains, suppose you have in the denominator you have 1 by 10, or let's say 11 by 10 into 11 by 10, in this manner. If this remains, if this does not cancel, then it is always beneficial to have 100 in the denominator. It is beneficial to have 100 in the denominator because later on, if we multiply, say if I'm multiplying 11 into 11, then I'll get 121, and then I can shift the decimal 2 places to the left to get our answer. We don't need to divide. That is the advantage of having zeros in the denominator. Okay, so if you have zeros in the denominator, it will be easier for you to calculate. Otherwise, you can cancel and have a tough time dividing. Okay. Now, once we have got the amount, when the principal is subtracted from the amount, we get the compound interest. So therefore, in this case, we get 11,712.8 minus the principal amount. The principal amount was 8,000 rupees. Minus the principal, we get 3712.8, 3,712.8 as our compound interest. Okay, now many of you, what you do is that after calculation of the amount, you forget to calculate the compound interest. Okay, remember there is a difference between amount and compound interest. Amount is how much a certain sum becomes after n years. Or let's say after, if I say if I've invested 8,000 for 2 years, if I've invested 8,000 for say 2 years, then the amount will be what 8,000 will become after 2 years. Say I have invested at the rate 5%. Then the amount would be what 8,000 becomes. Who is Muhammad Taslim? You know,
Sir, I, Sir Asim.
You should log in with your name.
I will change the name now.
8,000 for 2 years at 5%. Now amount is what this 8,000 becomes after 2 years at 5%. Say 8,000 becomes 8,500. Say after calculation I found 8,000 becomes 8,500 after 2 years at 5%. Okay. Now I want to calculate the compound interest, and the compound interest will be A minus P, which is 8,500 minus 8,000. Now this is a part that most of you forget. Okay, to calculate the compound interest, that is something that you must remember, and not forget to and always remember the difference between uh, compound interest and amount. Okay, so there are two steps to calculate the compound interest. First you calculate the amount, and then you come to the compound interest formula. Okay. Look at the next example that I gave you. In this problem, it is given that the principal invested is 7,400. Okay, and the rate is 5%, which is compounded half yearly or semi-annually. Okay, and this amount is invested for 1 year. Okay, but since it is half yearly, what do you do with half yearly? What you do is you half the rate for half yearly. Since you're dividing the year into two parts, you divide the rate by 2 and you multiply that time by 2. This you already know from your last year's knowledge. So what my rate becomes 2.5 of 5 by 2, and my time becomes 1 year into 2. Okay, so you have, I've put it in the compound interest formula. A is equal to P1 plus R by 100 whole to the power of n, where principal is 7,400. Rate I have put as 2.5 or 5 by 2. It is always easier to work with fractions, by 100, and the time as I have calculated here multiplied by 2, time here is 2. Okay. Now having inserted these values in the compound interest formula, I now proceed to calculate. What do I get? I cancel I 5 by 2 divided by 100. I cancel the I multiply 2 by 100 to get 5 by 200. Then I take the LCM here and see here how I have cancelled. 7,400 into 41 by 40 into 41 by 40. Okay, so here what I see is that I can cancel this only twice, and these two zeros obviously cancel. So I cancel the zeros and I get this as 37, and I see that nothing else cancels. Okay, but after the cancellation of zeros, I get the denominator 8. In fact, what I get is 37 into 41 into 41, which is 62197, and then if I divide this, I'm getting the required answer as this. However, what I want to tell you here is that if you don't cancel the zeros, even then it is going to work, because I am getting two zeros in the denominator. Then whatever product that I get in the numerator, I simply shift it two decimals to the left, and then I will get the answer. Okay, but if the denominator is low, see the denominator here is 8, then it won't be a very difficult job for me to divide. So therefore I can cancel the zeros also, but if you leave the zeros there, no problem, still you can divide. So the amount of work that you have to do in both the cases, whether you are canceling the zeros or whether you are not canceling the zeros, the amount of work that you have to do is the same. Now once I have calculated the amount, I calculate the compound interest by subtracting principal from the amount. And the third one, again a very basic example. You have the principal given to you as 1 lakh, and rate is given to you as 4%, and time is given to you as, think it was given to you as, mm, let me check this question, 2.2 question 5. This one, this is a little inverted here. Okay. Find the amount and compound interest on 1 lakh compounded quarterly for 9 months. So the time is given in months at the rate of 4%. Coming back to the question, the time is given here as 9 months. Okay. And it is said that the interest is compounded quarterly. So therefore, what we must do is we are dividing the year into 4 parts. If the interest is compounded quarterly, that means every 3 months the interest is being given. We are dividing the year into 4 parts. So what we do is we divide the rate by 4 and we multiply the time. But since the time is given in months, first we convert it into a year. 9 months is the same as 9 by 12 year. Okay. And after conversion to year, since time has to be multiplied by 4 as interest is being compounded quarterly, therefore we get the value of n as 3. Now this is neither 3 years, this is not 3 years, neither it is months. There is simply value of n that we are going to plug in our formula. So I plug the values. Once I calculated the rate, I calculated the time, I put this in the compound interest formula. Okay. Now ultimately what we get after taking LCM is 101 by 100, which is 101 by 100 repeated 3 times. So I cancel all the zeros. See, only 1 0 remains in the denominator. That is 10. 1 power of 10 remains in the denominator. So what I do is I multiply everything and shift only one place of decimal. So after multiplication, I get 103,030,1. Okay, divided by 10. This is what I get after multiplication. After multiplying 101 into 101 into 101. And then what happens, since I have a 10 in the denominator, I only shift one decimal to the left. 103,030.1. Okay. So this is 1,03,030 rupees 10 paise. Okay. So I've got the amount. Now I've calculated the compound interest by subtracting the principal from the amount. Now, a very important technique that I have discussed here is, now if you remember last year, when suppose the time was given in 2 years and certain, in fact, say certain years and certain months. Okay, let us consider this. For example, um, this example, if a principal is invested for 2 years and 5 months, see, 5 months, and the rate of interest is R% per annum, and the amount, find the uh, find the amount. Okay, we calculate the amount. How can we calculate the amount? Because if we are converting 5 years, rather 2 years, 2 years and 5 months. If I want to convert this to a year, 2 years, and since 5 months, I will divide 5 by 12. This is the number of years. This is the number of years. 2 years, 5 months. This is the number of years that I will get. But the problem is that if I put it in the formula, P 1 plus R by 100 to the power of 2, 5 by 12. If I put it in the formula, then see, I've got a 5 by 12, which is a very annoying fraction to be in the power. See, if I multiply, convert this mixed fraction to an improper fraction, 29 by 12. Now, how will I calculate this power? So this is a very annoying power. Okay, so what we do is In such a case, if I have a mixed fraction as my power, simply split the mixed fraction as 2 plus 5 by 12. 2 5 by 12 can be written as 2 plus 5 by 12. In the next step, I split the r plus 1 by 100 by indices formula. Why did I split this? Because from the laws of indices, you know that a to the power of m plus n is equal to a to the power of m into a to the power of n. See, this is a sum of powers. Here also I've got a sum of powers. And what is the base? My base is 1 plus r by 100. So that is why 1 plus r by 100 has been split into 2 and 5 by 12. Okay. Now the question is, this can be calculated very easily. What about this? In such a case, in order to calculate this fractional power, okay, as I have mentioned that you just need to know what is, as I've mentioned here, you just need to know the technique. Why you don't need to understand right now. What we do is, we take this 5 by 12 power. In order to remove this power 5 by 12, what we do is we take this 5 by 12 power and we multiply by r. This is what happens. So I have been able to remove this power now. Is this technique clear? Or any?
Sir, I can't understand the last step.
I am telling you that you don't need to understand. You just have to know the technique. Did you understand how to remove the fraction? Why the question of why does not arise? The question of why does
Yes,
not
sir.
arise. Okay. The question is, did you understand the technique? What I did here, did you understand? What
Yes, sir.
I have
Yes, sir.
simply removed the power 5 by 12 by multiplying it by r. And I have not multiplied 5 by 12 by both the fractions. I have simply multiplied it by the base, by its own base. I have multiplied 5 by 12 by its own base, by r in its own base. See, 5 by 12 was the power of this. I have multiplied 5 by 12 by its own base. The r that was there by its own base. Let us take an example. Find the amount and compound interest on 10,000 rupees compounded annually for 2.5 years at 4%. So clearly my principal is 10,000 rupees, which is the amount that is invested, and R is 4%, which has been compounded yearly. So no problem, nothing to do here because they are all being compounded yearly. And the time here is 2.5 years. Okay. Now 2.5 years, this is not as annoying fraction as 2 5 by 12. Definitely. 2 5 by 12 was a very annoying fraction. Okay, but 2.5 years still is a manageable fraction. But still, if you still have a fraction like this, then what can you do? So what we do is we substitute everything in the compound interest formula. 2.5 years. So n is 2.5. Now what we do is we split this into a sum of fractions. 2.5 can be written as 2 plus half. And this is what a, this is my base a to the power of m plus n. So I split the base. 1 plus 4 by 100 whole square. 1 plus 4 by 100 whole to the power of half. Okay. Now the technique that I told you was that the first factor, this factor will remain as it is. And for the second factor, in order to remove this annoying power, this fractional power, what we do is we multiply this half with this rate only at the base. Now I have been able to manage to remove the fractional power. Now I can work with this. Okay. Is the technique clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now my calculation becomes a little easy in the sense that now I can cancel this 1 2 2. I'm simply left with 10,000 into 1 plus 4 by 100 square into 1 plus 2 by 100. Okay, and take the LCM. If you want to cancel here first, you can cancel, no problem. But I have not cancelled because there was 100 in the denominator. Okay, so I've tried to keep the 100 in the denominator because I see there's a 10,000 here also. So what I know is that ultimately this 100 is going to cancel, whether I cancel now or not. This is the power 2. So this becomes 104 by 100 whole square into 102 by 100. This becomes 10,000 into 104 by 100 into 104 by 100 into 102 by 100. So ultimately what you see is that certain zeros definitely cancel. And I've got 100 in the denominator. So this is very convenient for me to work. So when I multiply 104 into 104 into 102, what I get here is divided by 100. So I've got 100, two zeros, the power of 10 in the denominator. So what I can do is I can shift two decimal places. Okay, you can shift two decimal places to get your answer. Now my question is, now this is a very fundamental question which I want to ask. Okay, now the question here is that suppose if I had something like this, instead of getting 100 in the denominator, if I had something like this, um, say 200 in the denominator, then how would you have divided?
So by 2 first and then decimal points.
Exactly, you first divide this by 2 because you can cancel this by 2, but I am not canceling here. Okay, so what I do is I first divide this by 2. If I have got, I first divide this by 2 to get 5, 5, 1, 6, 1, 6. I divide this number by 2 first because I have a 2 here, and then this should be divided by 100. So now I get 5, 5, 1, 6, two decimal places shifted here because of this 100. Is this clear, this calculation?
Yes, sir.
So you have, if you have any other, if you, even if you have powers of 10, or if you have
Yes,
any
sir.
other numbers in the denominator, then this is something that you can do. Okay, let us look at the next one. Now the next type of question here is how to find the principal. That kind of question that you get normally is to find the principal when the amount, rate and time are given. How will you calculate? Let us see this example. In this case, the amount, a certain amount which is not given to you, which you have to find, a certain amount, a certain principal, a certain sum of money is amounts to 1,62,000, 32,651. At what rate of percent? At 4% per annum. And at what, in how much time? In 1.5 years. 4% in 1.5 years. And it is said that the interest is compounded half yearly or semi-annually. So you need to divide the rate by 2 first, okay, and you need to multiply the time by 2. So 1.5 has been multiplied by 2. Rate 4 has been divided by 2. Now I put it in the compound interest formula. So my amount is given to me as 1,32,651 is equal to P. I don't know. I have to calculate. So P I write as it is. 1 plus rate I have calculated to be 2 because I've divided 4 by 2. So that is why my rate becomes 2 by 100. And N is 3. 1.5 into 2 gives you 3. So therefore my N here is 3. Okay. Now I proceed to calculate here. I take the LCM here, not here. Just uh, I take the LCM here within the brackets, keeping the power same. Okay, and ultimately what I get is 51 by 50, which is raised to the power of 3. So that is why it has been repeated 3 times. Okay, so that means this is what we are going to get. Multiply all the numerators together, multiply all the denominators together. Here what I have done is I have cross multiplied. Okay, cross multiplication. And then ultimately I get the value of P by dividing whatever is there, whatever was there on the this side divided by the coefficient of P. Okay, so I get as 1,25,000. I hope there's no problem in this. Mostly what you get is these kind of problems here in class 9. Calculation of principal, calculation of time, calculation of number of years the money was invested. Okay, this is mostly the kind of problem that you get. Now look at this. Here you have to calculate the rate, and what is given to you? Amount is given to you. Okay, principal is given to you, and time is given to you. You have to calculate. You have to calculate the rate. Okay, so amount is given to you as 48,620.25. Principal was given to you as 40,000. Now see here, the interest is compounded quarterly, half yearly. The interest is compounded half yearly. So my N here was 2 years, which I multiplied by 2 to get 4. Okay, and the rate is halved. You know that the rate is halved. So instead of R, I've substituted all these values in the formula. A was I knew, P I knew, R I had to calculate, N I knew. So I've substituted all this here. See. Now what I have done here is that I have simply halved the rate. I have divided R by 2 because my interest was being compounded half yearly. Okay. So this R by 2 by 100 becomes R by 200. Both the denominators get multiplied. Okay. And I put the values here. In fact, what I have done is I have first divided R by 2 and then put the values. Okay, you can do it simultaneously also. Okay, and just as last year, what we did was that once we get this left hand side and the right hand side here, these numbers, we convert this to a fraction. We convert the entire left hand side to a fraction, so that I get some power of R by 100 or R by 200, whatever may be the case. In our case, it is R by 200 raised to this power. Now my next idea is to, because we need to calculate the rate, our next idea is to make the powers same. If I have a power 4 here, I must have a power 4 here also. When the powers are same, then I can equate the bases. Okay, so what I do is that I start cancelling. Now this is where something that is very important. Okay, I start cancelling. But how do I cancel? I cancel the numerator and the denominator on the left hand side or the right hand side, whatever the case may be. If whatever fraction that you are getting here, I cancel the left the numerator and the denominator with the lowest common multiple. Lowest common multiple. If you see between these two, what is the lowest common multiple? This number ends in 5, this number ends in 0. So you know that the lowest common multiple has to be 5. You can cancel with 15 also, maybe you can cancel with 25 also, maybe, but you will not cancel with them if you know that the lowest common multiple between them is 5. So you cancel with 5. Okay, you cancel with 5. Why did I cancel? First, I cancelled because I wanted to make the powers same. Now what I see is that this number here and this number here cannot be written as a power of 4. In order to make it a power of 4, I cancel with the lowest common multiple. So I cancel with 5 to get these two numbers, 9 7. So I cancel with 5 to get 97245 here and this here. Now in the what I see is that even this number after cancellation, what I see is that this is not a power of 4. Is this a power of 4? It is not a power of 4. Can this number be expressed as a power of 4? No. So what I do is I cancel further with again the lowest common multiple. And what this time, what is the lowest common multiple? Again 5. So I cancel with 5 once again to get 16,000 and this. Now if you see, I don't know whether this is a power of 4 or not, but 60, this number that I have got, I definitely know that this is a power of 4. Isn't it? We know that this is a power of 4 because this can be written as 16 into
Yes.
10 to the power of 4, which can also be written as
Yes.
uh, which can also be written as 2 to the power of 4 into 10 to the power of 4, which is 2 into 10 to the power of 4. Okay, so once I know that this is the power of 4, I must also, I this is a wild guess that the problem is framed accordingly, that my numerator must also be a power of 4. So once I've got one denominator as a power of 4, my guess is that the numerator will also be a power of 4. So what I do is I prime factorize the numerator. When I prime factorize the numerator, what I see is that I get 3 to the power of 4 into 7 to the power of 4. That means this number actually was a power of 4, this one. And denominator, I knew it as a power of 4. So I now make the powers same. Once I make the powers same, the bases are same. And therefore I calculate R. But remember, the main idea here is to make the powers same. Now how do I make the powers same? First I see whether whatever I have, whether it is a power of 4 or not. See, I have this, which I know is not a power of 4. So I cancel with the lowest common multiple. And now again I check whether this is a power of 4. I see that, or I check this to be a power of 4. Any one you can check. Once I check, I see that neither of them is a power of 4. Neither this nor this. You can check any one actually. Okay. So I cancel again with the lowest common multiple, which is 5, to get 1,60,000 or whatever. Okay, and whatever number that I get, what I see here, this is a power of 4. So my wild guess is that this should also be a power of 4. So therefore I prime factorize and express this side as a power of 4, which I have managed to do. And therefore I equate the bases in order to get the value of R. So here in this case, I am getting R